Hey there, I'm Miss Henneman, and I am here today to share with you our second part of the topic we started 2 weeks ago, which is the topic about confrontation. And then to support all my comments, I will be using the same reference from the very beginning when we started in our introduction and our first part, which was last week. So in this reference, we will see the very important question that Jesus asked Peter and how Peter answered Jesus. And this question is in fact the main point of our whole discussion. Why? Because sometimes in our lives it's necessary to be confronted by God's words and then to understand how we are, what we have inside of us, and also what we are offering, what we are giving to God through our communion with Him. Why we do this kind of moment? Why we need this type of experience? Because God has a plan for each one of us. And then if certain times of our lives we don't check how we are, maybe it can affect our future and also our future plans to our lives. In this reference, we see Jesus knew Peter very well, and God had already a plan for him. But to go forward and to make what God had in his heart for him, he had to stop and confront himself with this type of question. And Jesus asked, Simon, son of John, you love me more than this? It is a very clear and complete question. Then, if we read the same question in the original language of the New Testament, which is Greek, and by the way, the Greek koine, which is easier to understand, we will not understand the content of in English even. Why I say this? If you don't compare English in this case in other language with the original language of this text or reference, we will not know which kind of terminology or vocabulary Jesus used to ask Peter and how Peter answered him. Why? Because Jesus asked 3 times the same question for the same man. And he said, do you love me? And he said 1, 2, 3 times. If Jesus asked just the same question for 3 different people, maybe it would be easier for us to understand. But once he asked the same for the same person, it looks like it does not make too much sense until we come to the original language of the same verse. And my intention here with this is learn about the confrontation, but also understand how it happened, why he repeated the same question. It's just the original language can help us to understand. This part we'll see right now in the next slide, but now we just read. Σίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς πλέον τούτων. This is a complete question. And by the way, this last symbol you see here at the end, the semicolon in English, is in Greek a question mark. So in this case, we have a complete question. Σίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς πλέον τούτων. In general, we understood last week Jesus was asking in English his name, Simon, son of John. You love me with a perfect love. More than, or much more than. This refers to probably the group of the other disciples who were beside or not too far from them. So, but before to go to this whole reference, which is with this here we see on the top, I just wanted to review quick how we divided this whole topic from last week. I divided in 3 times because of the amount of details we have. Then the first part, which was last week, we saw interpretation of this whole text. We read all the text. I took the main parts of the 3 verses complete is discussed with you. Today we will come back a little because we will be talking today about the very end of the conclusion from Jesus to Peter. After all the question and answer, Jesus say at the end, then Peter, feed my lambs, or shepherd my sheep. And Jesus gave him to Peter some very important responsibilities. This is the part for today. So then we studied the last week the interpretation of the text. Also, we went to Peter's life. We checked together who was Peter, who was him, where he came from, which profession he had, how was his character, his qualities, his attributes, also his personal problems. We checked very quick how he was as a disciple and also later as an apostle. What happened between this main time, from disciple to apostle, which mistakes he had or he's made, and how Jesus, in one specific time of his life, stopped him to ask this important question. Why? Do you know what I think? I think certain moment, certain time of our lives, you and me need to stop and to be confronted with this type of question. What you have inside of you for me? Which kind of love you have for me? And then the question was, you really love me? Why? Because his behavior, his attitudes, his character, his words, his style of life probably was not pleasing God in all possible ways, like we need to do today, because it is what God requires from you and from me. I mean, he wants all. All we have, he wants for him, because God does not want us divided between him and ourselves, between him and someone else. As a God, he wants to be the only. And for this, he wants all our total, our totality of life just for him. So the first part was about the interpretation of the text and about Peter. Today, we will go to this next part. We will study together about the difference between sheep and lambs, as we see in this reference later, and also shepherd into grace, or to feed, referring to the lambs, and to shepherd, referring to sheep. We will see right now, and then which are the main functions or main responsibilities of a pastor. So, and also, who can be a pastor? Which characteristics or attributes the pastor, the person who God is called to be pastor in the church or in different church, how this person has to be, which kind of responsibilities, how to work between so different people, start for sheep and lambs. We'll see it right now. In the third part, which is next week, we'll see here together about some important experiences Peter had during his time and how we can contextualize them with us in our present time today. Also, we'll see together which was the great personal challenge Peter faced in his life and how he succeeded, how he did after he been confronted, as we see here through this reference, how his life was after this. And then it was really useful, this moment of the conversation, when Jesus said, Peter, stop there, come here, we need to talk, because something seriously is happening. If we don't fix it now, you cannot imagine how your future will be, not just in your personal life as a Christian, but also referring to the ministry or the call I have for you. Then Jesus stopped him, and then Peter had to face a huge challenge. How it happened and how we can compare with our challenges right now, especially how we can succeed too, as Peter did. In the final part, we'll see here how the life of Peter, how he ended his life, which fruits we can see in his life after all his time here. How was his change? Because between the time when he was a disciple and apostle, this main time, so many important things happened. And we will see the Peter from this time when he was just a simple disciple, a simple Christian man, to the end, when he became a very powerful apostle. So many important things happened between this main time. And this is my emphasis for the last time of our discussion in part 3. So then, as I say, we come back to the main reference, because our part today, which is part 2, we'll need the conclusion. Jesus' conclusion after Peter answered him each time when he asked, do you love me? So this very last part of Jesus' conclusion is our main topic for today. For this reason, we need to come back to the whole reference. John 21, 15 to 17, we'll start in verse 15. I will start with the original Greek of the New Testament, because the comparison I want to make between English and also other language if possible. So 15 we read, Hote eristessan legeito Sίμων Petro ho Jesus. Σίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς πλέον τούτων. This is a question, right? Λέγε οτό, νάι κύριε, σου οίδας hote φιλose. Λέγε οτό, Βόσκε ἀρνία μου. In English, we read the same reference. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than this? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. And this is the part we will be working with today, the very end of each verse. Verse 17, we read, Λέγε οτό πάλιν deuteron. Σίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς. And then the question is here, right? The question mark. Λέγε οτό, νάι κύριε, σου οίδας hote φιλose. Λέγε οτό, ποίμαινε Πρόβατά μου. The 16 in English, he said to him a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. 17 in Greek, Λέγε οτό το τρίτον. Σίμων Ιωάννου, φίλες με? Question mark here. Ελοπίτε ο Πέτρος, ότι έπεν οτό το τρίτον. Φίλες με? Καί έπεν οτό. Κύριε, πάντα σου οίδας, σου γινώσκες hote φιλose. Λέγε οτό ο Ιησούς, Βόσκε Πρόβατά μου. The same verse in English. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was sad because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. And Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. Now I showed you on this last time, this last word is here, because as with these two verses we will be using during these 3 verses. And I explained to you, in Greek there are some important words which refer or define the word love. So the first of them we saw as the word agape, which means perfect love. And the perfect love, all of us know, it comes just from God, right? Because just Him is perfect. In this case, agape is perfect love. Next, or the second category of love in Greek is philia. Philia in this case is the imperfect love, because it's the love which comes from people, from men, or from us. It's imperfect because we are imperfect. Very different from the agape, because agape is perfect, only God is the perfect one. The third here is estorge, is also love, but is family love, is the kind of love which grows and develops between families, from parents to children and vice versa. For this we say family love. And the last is eros, which is the sexual love, and it is not part of our discussion because we are not talking about marriage, right? So this last is not part absolutely. So then the two first, agape and philia, are the two main types of loves we can see during or through these three verses, 15 to 17. So we'll come back very quick. The very first verse, very first reference, verse 15, Jesus asked the hill. I'll go directly to the question to save some time. Very hill. The question is, Sίμων Ιωάννου is Simon, son of John. And then the question, ἀγαπᾷς πλέον τούτων. You see, when Jesus asked the first time, he used the word ἀγαπᾷς, which is perfect love, because it refers to agape, perfect love of God. Jesus asked him, ἀγαπᾷς. From the very beginning, the question was very intense. And then we can translate literally, says, Jesus was asking, do you love me with a perfect love? It is very real. Do you love me with a perfect love? Why I say this? Because ἀγαπᾷς comes from agape. Do you love with perfect love? And also, on top of this, Jesus used the next expression, pleon, which is the word which brings intensity to the same question. Because pleon here is more, as you see here in English, is more, but not just more, is much more, or much more abundantly, much more deeper, much more completely. It says much more everything. And Jesus, in my opinion, was asking Peter a very super demanding question. I think like this just to express my intensity, because the word pleon is the type of love, agape. So, in conclusion, Jesus asked the first time, you love me with the perfect love, much more deeper than everybody else. Tούtων refers to this pronoun, this. And I think the other disciples were maybe beside, not too long from there, not too far. And then Jesus used the tούtων, this. And this is a pronoun we use it to refer to someone or some people who are not too far, right? I understand this point, and then I imagine the other disciples were beside or not more or less close, and then he say, do you love me with a perfect love, much more deep than this other disciple, for example, than these other people, or however was there? This is the first question. And then Peter says, lege auto, referring now to Peter, say him, Nai, Kyrie, yes, Lord, su oidas hote philosi, you know that I love you. But if you see, his answer was not agape, was which kind of love? Was the second category of love, which was philia. In other words, Peter says, yes, Lord, I love you, as we see here in English. Yes, Lord, he say, you know I love you. In English, we just see this beautiful answer. I love you, it is a beautiful word. But the type of love we cannot see unless we come to the original language. So, just to complete the verse 15, Jesus asked the question, do you love me with perfect love, using the agape, which is perfect? And Peter says, yes, I love you, but with love philia. You soy das rote philose. Philose comes from philia, which is the perfect love. Do you love me with the perfect love? Yes, I love you, but with the imperfect love. E then at the end, Jesus say, leg autor, now refer to Jesus, Bosque tá ărnía mu. Bosque is, according your English, is feed, ărnía, lambs. Bosque tá ărnía mu, feed my lambs, we will see it later. So verse 17, leg autor palin deuteron. Say him again, deuteron, a second time. In English is kind of a summary, right? He said to him a second time, this omitting the word again, or palin, because palin here express the strength. It's like pushing hard on Peter. This is the word palin. What I say now is not literal, but is the main idea of the word palin. Leg autor, say him, referring to Jesus, palin, again, push, again. I will say again, because the first he didn't understand, I will ask again. So again, express the strength of the question. Deuteron, second time. E then the question. Sίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς me. Sίμων Ιωάννου, Simon, we have here in English, son of John. Now look at the second question of Jesus. What happened here? We saw already before, right? Just to refresh a little your information. Ἀγαπᾷς me, and then we have here the question mark at the very end of me. Which is the difference between the second question and the first question of Jesus to Peter? The first he say, ἀγαπᾷς me, πλέον τούτων. You love me with a perfect love more than deeper than these other people. But the second, he just say, ἀγαπᾷς me, a question mark. He didn't add anymore, πλέον τούτων. He didn't say much more than these other people. He cut off this part. Why? And then we have here a question mark. I think this second question makes the answer easier for Peter. Also, I think, I'm very sure Jesus was already seeing Peter could not climb to him even the same level of the agape love, or perfect love. And then what Jesus did the second time, he cut the 50% of the demanding of his question. He make it easier and solve it. For Peter, he just say, do you love me with the perfect love, Peter? Do you? And then it was already a hard question for Peter, because the type of love was yet a perfect love, but not too hard like more than everybody else. This part no anymore. Even Peter understanding exactly what Jesus was saying, because they both spoke the same language. I'm very sure Peter was very conscious about which kind of vocabulary Jesus was using to talk to him. What he said in the second part? he say, legge autor, say him, referring to Peter. Nike, yes, Lord. So oidas rote filose. You know that I love you. The exactly same question in the type of love that Peter used to answer Jesus' second question was again philia, the imperfect love. Then Jesus, for second time, asked the use ἀγαπᾷς, perfect love. Do you love me with perfect love? And Peter says, yes, I love you, but with the imperfect love, which is philia. Then what happened in verse 17? Legge autor to tríton. Say him for third time. You have here in English, say him, he said to him the third time. So, tríton, third time. So, 3 times, 3 questions, right? Jesus said to him for the third time, Sίμων Ιωάννου, Simon, son of John. And then look at the difference to the third question. Either Jesus at the first line, first sentence. Filhas me? Question mark. This part of the text is for me the most important part. Why? Because the first question Jesus used ἀγαπᾷς, perfect love. Second part, second question, he again used the perfect love, even making some change between the first and second question, as we saw already. First question, pleon, túton, much more than everybody else. Second part, he just asked, do you love me with a perfect love? And cut off the second part of the sentence, pleon, túton, much more than these other people, he cut off. Peter didn't have this part for second question. But the third was really drastic. Jesus made a drastic change just to drop his level of understanding to be in the very same level of Peter. Because Peter could not climb to him. Jesus came down. He came down to reach Peter in the very same level or very same condition or situation where he was. And then Jesus says, Sίμων Ιωάννου, filhas me. This filhas me here, Jesus used to ask him for the third time as exactly this philia. In this word, Jesus say, Simon, son of John, do you love me really, even with this imperfect love? This is the question. And then the next part, we see Peter's reaction. Finally, Peter started to understand. And then the text say, elopete ho Petros. And by the way, this word, I say elopete, it is a kind of old pronunciation. The most modern say elipite, but I don't like too much this modern elipite. I continue saying elopete. So anyway, elopete ho Petros, elopete here is talk about the sadness. As you see here in English, where is Peter was sad, right? This sad here refers to elopete. But other versions say elopete is not just about sadness. Elopete is also about frustration. In other words, Peter was frustrated with himself. Remember, we are talking about the confrontation, right? He was confronted. Jesus said 1 second, third time, he dropped it to Peter's level. He said, well, man, you really love me, even with this love you have, a human love, an imperfect love. And then he finally understands his personal situation. And then the Bible says he became very sad. I don't think he was sad with Jesus. I believe he was sad with himself. He was sad for finally to see how he was, which kind of love he had in his heart, in his soul for Jesus. And then other versions says he was frustrated. Others say he was upset. He was angry. And even Peter felt offended All this comment is relating to elopete. He felt offended for the whole heavy situation of confrontation against him and his old man, his sinful man, who was yet living in his life. Elopete ho Petro, he was sad, hot apen autoto triton, because he say, the verb say, he apen, say him for third time, triton. As you see here, right? Say to him the third time. And then the question, feels me? Do you love me? So Peter was frustrated, sad, angry, all these things we can imagine just because the persistence. Jesus was very persistent. Do you really love me? And then Peter answers, and Kai open autor, referring to Peter, and say him, Kyrie, Lord, Pantasuoidas, you know everything. Panta, everything. Oh, you know all things. You know everything. As you see here in English. Everything. Toma, su gnoskes hote philose. You know that I love you. So in this case, in Greek, there are two important words to make a difference. To know, more or less like know in the superficial way, and know deeply. So in this case, Peter knew very well the vocabulary of Jesus, and then he said, Jesus, you know, a kind of, you know however you want, but also you gnoske, su gnoskes, you know deeply, you know completely, you know totally, you know absolutely everything that I love you. So it's interesting for me to see which kind of words Peter used to refer to Jesus and answer his question. He just showed through this test, he knew the difference between ἀγαπᾷς or agape and philes or philia. As we see here, he was working very well between these two important words which refer to love. Also, the word elopete here shows the different emotions from Peter as a man, in particular as a very imperfect man, as all of us together, any of us. And also how he concluded his comment. You know, oidas and gnoskes. In Greek, oidas, know, superficial, and gnosko, know deeply. And Peter used the two together. You know however you want, but also you know very deep everything, because the panta here is referring to everything, or you know all you want, referring to word panta. Yet at the end, Jesus say, lege auto ho Jesus. So Jesus say, as more or less you have here in English, Vosque tá probatamu. The Vosque here, your English translate as feed, and probata is sheep. You will see now which is the difference between Vosque and then between Vosque and Poimene. So Poimene, Jesus used referring to probata, which are sheep. And the word Vosque, he used to refer to ărnia, which are lambs, and Vosque feed. As this part we will concentrate now. But I bring it here just because we will need the end of Jesus' conclusion. The conclusion is Vosque tá ărnia mu, verse 15. Verse 16, Poimene tá probatamu, e verse 17 is Vosque tá probatamu. We'll take this difference you comment right now in our second part. So this point here brings exactly the end of the first verse 15. Feed my lambs. Lege auto, say him, Vόσκε ta ἀρνία μου. Vόσκε, your English transfer as just a feed, and ἀρνία is correct lambs. And mu is mine, right? Jesus lambs, or Jesus people, Jesus church, or the body of Christ. As we say, everyone who accepted Jesus are his people, not someone else's people, not people from the denomination, organization, church. Is all God's people. It is very clear through this pronoun mine. We see here talking about possession. So then I bring this beautiful image about a lamb as an animal. So I bring it here for two reasons. One, I wanted to make a comparison between the lamb animals and which part of the church is considered lambs according to the Bible. And second, why Jesus used this word lambs. Only lambs is these little beautiful animals. What is the point of importance between all this kind of vocabulary? So first, I wanted to talk the very two important words in the first part of the conclusion, Jesus' conclusion, which is Vόσκε and ἀρνία. So we see here in English, it is translated as or into your English feed, right? So I think it is. Although in some versions, the word Vόσκε is just referred to feed, as we see here. This meaning is not complete, in my opinion, is not complete. Why? Because I'm trying now to compare with the original language. Why Vόσκε cannot be just feed? Because I think I have two reasons. The first is because this word mainly refers to the action of feed until the sheep or the lamb is completely satisfied, pleasurable, and also satiated, completely satiated. So here is not this word, this sentence here, making me think like you gave something to the lamb to eat, or to the sheep. You made your obligation. Well, I made already my part. Take it. It is done. When we compare with a church, some people think directly a church or be a pastor of the church, for example, just climb to the platform, the pulpit to say something, bye-bye, see you tomorrow. It is not, y'all. God does not ask us to do something only, but to do something with quality, to do something with excellence. It is the main concept of the word Vόσκε. Jesus says very Vόσκε ta ἀρνία μου. Vόskε is not just give or offer. Okay, you take. If you want, you take. If you know, it's your problem. It's not like this. Vόskε is to do something. Is to feed. Yes, that's to feed, but with excellence, with our best motivation, best love, best time, best effort, with our best for him, because it is God's call, is God's work, is God's people. So my first opinion about this concept feed is incomplete. First, I will repeat, because Vόσκε, according to the original language Greek, is to feed, but feeding until the sheep or these lambs, in this case, is completely satisfied, pleasurable, relaxed, rested, and completely satiated. All these definitions, different definitions together, means the word Vόskε. And Jesus called us as his children to do what Vόskε demands from us, not just to do, but to do with excellence, knowing that however we do, we are doing for Him. He is receiving what we do, what we give. This is the main point of Bosque for me, not just feed. My second reason is, on the other hand, Bosque, the same word Bosque, also means to make rest. And, in other words, to give rest to this lamb or to the sheep, to the point that the lambs and the sheep feel that they no longer need anything else. I mean, everything we did, or however we did, or however we preached, or we are teaching, or however we do, we need to do to the point to lead this lamb or this sheep to go to a complete rest. When I say the word rest in this context of Bosque, I'm saying all heaviness, all oppression, all concerns, all anxieties, all however the lamb or the sheep have, it is broke automatically because this action to Bosque or to feed with the real food of God's word, which is so powerful, so holy, so faithful, and even the Bible defines itself, it says it's like a sword with two sides, sharper than any other tool we can use. So for this, all these powerful qualities of God's words, when we make this action to Bosque or feed the lambs of the sheep of God, the conclusion is they can rest because they receive something so powerful to the point to change their interior, their mentality, their language, their reaction in their entire life. It is Bosque. And when we do this, the conclusion is the lamb or the sheep will not need anything else because they are completely satisfied. Jesus said to Peter, make my people satisfied with my word. Don't invent false doctrine like it happened now, right? Jesus didn't say this part to Peter. I'm just trying to contextualize with our time today. Today, some leaders and pastors think they have to invent things, invent prophecies, invent strange doctrines, invent so many strange things because they think God's word is not enough anymore. It is not. If you go to the deep word, you will see we already have it all in hands to make the lamb and the sheep completely satisfied. They will not need anything else because they are very well, and we don't need to add anything else to this action. Now the question I have in this point is, how we are going to make the lamb or the sheep rest? How we can do this? And one of my words is through the peace of God. If we offer them the peace of God, not our peace, not the peace of our agenda or events or however you do, but the peace of God, yeah, we'll get them to get a real rest. So the peace of God that we are called to distribute, to share with them, and among them to the point that they are completely satisfied. All these concepts, different concepts, are translated with the word or inside or comes from the word Bosque. Now, the word ărnία refers literally to lambs. And even this word appears in the Bible just once. And this is exactly this reference. Lambs in this kind of definition, ărnία, just appear here in John 21:15 as the only time when this word appears in this like this we see here, right? And ἀρνία is a kind of a neuter noun, because it's neuter, does not have gender, can be used to feminine and negative, feminine and masculine at the same time. So this is just a comparison. Now we'll see why Jesus used the word lamb to refer to his people. Because my intention here was not just to show a photo and say, okay, this beautiful animal is a lamb. No, why Jesus used the exactly same word and say to Peter, this, Vosque my lambs. Who in his body is a lamb? Who are the lambs according the verse we mentioned before? So we all know now some references and definitions about lambs. So lambs comes from the Hebrew, the original language of the Old Testament, and we read as taleh. You know Hebrew, we always read from the right to the left, right? Taleh is the word lamb in Hebrew. Now we'll see some qualities. The lamb, the animal, is a young lamb or young animal that is still being nursed, as this reference 1 Samuel 7:9 show us. Lamb is also a very small baby, is a baby of the sheep in this case. It has a docile temperament because it's a baby, is very docile, is very gentle, is very sweet, yet also is harmless, does not hurt no one because it's yet a baby. It's easy to establish a relationship with the others because it's sweet, it's so docile, and no problem with the lambs. It's innocent because it's yet a baby. So has no defense mechanism of their own. They don't know how to defend themselves because they are starting to live, right? They are yet too young. Has no fighting ability. Again, they don't know how to defend themselves. It is easy to train. It can learn great skills. So even if I am describing a lamb with no strong ability yet, even like this, they are easy to be trained in learn. Even later, it shows great skills they can get. It is generally meek. Hence, the proverb, it is a kind of saying, gentle as a lamb. I am sure you heard it in some moment, referring to the people who are very quiet, very, almost never say or do something. They are defined as gentle as a lamb, because a lamb is very gentle. It absolutely is not aggressive because it's innocent, harmless, all these things. So now I ask you, which kind of comparison can we make between the lamb as an animal in this description and the people, some people of God's church? We see, for example, a young lamb as referring or bringing to my mind the newborn, the people who accepted Jesus days ago. For example, we call them newborn or new a Christian life. No, Christian people, they are yet in their first steps, right? They are young. They are very small, like babies, I say. They are docile. They are yet starting like babies, all characteristics like a baby. They are easy to establish a relationship because they don't know anything yet. Well, they are going only. They are very innocent. They are starting to know. They don't know too much. Even some don't know anything yet. They don't know how to defend themselves in all the spiritual atmosphere of our life. As we know, in our spiritual life, we face some strong fights, right? Against demons, against our spiritual enemies, principals, the same as Satan. So they do not have yet any defense mechanism, and also they don't know how to fight. They don't have ability because many of them don't know how to pray. They don't know how to understand the Bible by themselves. They don't know anything about the fasting. They are growing spiritually. They are completely baby. They don't know anything. For this, they don't know how to fight in the spiritual atmosphere. But also, as this quality says, they can learn very well. They can be trained. They can show even fruits if we walk together with them. So from this point, we see the lamb refers to the new Christians, the newborns who are now starting their first steps. Because all these limitations they have in the very beginning, they need very much our help, right? They need very much our help. Now we see this. I repeat some part just to organize better my ideas connected with these qualities. I believe this because as a new member of the body of Christ, many of them are still almost empty. Again, because they are starting, they didn't receive anything yet from the real Christian life, from the Bible. They don't know how to pray. They don't know how to fight spiritually. So some of them look like they are empty. And when they come to Jesus, like any other of us, they bring, they come to Jesus, bring all the great situation from their past, all the great inner struggle even coming together with them. In some cases, for example, some of them or many of them feel like they are guilty, desperate, hopeless, weak, unbelieving, and like they are shows they cannot walk spiritually by themselves or alone. And because of all these conditions, as a new babies, spiritual newborns, they still need help. Since they don't understand much, they need more of y'all's help, or help from the people who are alone or more time in the church. Also, in relation to the ministry or the church, the lamb is exactly the opposite of the sheep. Since the sheep is the one who has already more time in the church, has a better training, more experience, so the lamb is exactly the opposite. Since it is generally indisciplined, I mean, the lamb does not have a good discipline, is not punctual, is a kind of disorganized, does not yet understand everything or sometimes anything, and at the end is harder. Some cases are hard to work with, and for this, the sheep, which are the older people in the church, I'm not talking old, referring to age, the physical age, but the people who are more time per years in the church, know a little more, are already training, can help the lambs. It is just a kind of comparison, understand why Jesus used the word lambs. Now, in verse 16, the very end of Jesus' conclusion, he said to Peter, when Peter said to him the second time, I love you, Jesus say, shepherd my sheep. Λέγε αυτό, say him, ποίμαινε τα πρόβατά μου. Ποίμαινε is a very important word here in this command, because poimene is literally shepherd, or be their shepherd, be their pastor, be. When the word be comes to be part of this context, Jesus is not, he was not asking Peter just to say, okay, Peter, work as a pastor sometimes when you want. When you don't agree, no problem, you just can do sometimes. It was not the message. This word poimene is a clear, more than an invitation, is a kind of call. Which word I can use is, well, I will use the word call. Call is more than an option. Option is more than a suggestion. Is more than a simple idea Jesus was giving to him is more than this. Jesus was calling Peter to be, and the word be referring to life. Your life has to become. In this way, I am saying you from now. You will be. Your life will be there. Your time, your physical energies, all your abilities, your intelligence, your power of creativity, all you are, all your good aspect you put in. You will be the shepherd of my sheep. It was a serious convocation. Peter was not able to escape from this. For this I call confrontation. Jesus saw how he was. Jesus heard his enthusiasm. I love you, but this imperfect love. But at the end, he said, be my people, shepherd, be their pastor. And because it was coming from Jesus, be a good pastor, because it has to be with excellence, right? E also, Poimani is exactly shepherd, with excellence, with totality. Tá, Πρόβατá referred to sheep. Literally referred to these people who are in the church, in the ministry, more time, then they are well trained, they can help the new people in faith, which are the newborns. Now what you'll do, I bring you this image about the sheep, and you'll see some very important qualities from these beautiful animals. The first one is the photo shows they are all together. It is because it's something very common. It's not common to see a sheep like this animal alone, living very well year by year alone, completely isolated. Is not common. They are all in group all the time. It for me teaches me already a very important lesson we'll see right now. So you see here according to the photo, some are big, some are little, some look very strong, and some very not too strong, maybe some weak, but they are all different, all together at the same group. We will see now what we can learn from this. Then we see the word sheep also comes from the Hebrew of the Old Testament, and we read say. Again, the right to the left, sheep in Hebrew is say. In say, which is sheep, we have here some qualities about this beautiful animal. They have emotions. It can create bonds of friendship. It is a very good quality. They have an excellent memory. It can recognize their owners. Oh, it is nice. Also, they are intelligent. It can obey commands' voice. It is powerful. Naturally, they live together in a flock of a herd. It is also good. They can recognize who is not part of the flock. I put not very big to not forget. It is a very important aspect we'll talk right now. Their behavior varies, can be different between sweet and aggressive, but at the end, everybody is useful. No matter if the sheep, the person named like this, is so sweet, the other so aggressive, this is good, this is bad. I can count more in this is not useful. No. In God's kingdom, everybody is useful. As also they can be domesticated. They can be domesticated. Okay, so next, they mature faster than the other animals. The quadrupeds, they can mature faster than them. They adapt easily to the place where they live. They are created or were created for reproduction. Their diet is specific. Usually they eat grass, hay, and cereal. Very important. They are found in all existent continents. They reproduce in favor of climatic conditions for the survival of their babies. I mean, they are intelligent. And here we see naturally the sheep rests in the presence of its pastor. It is a very important quality, and I am a good shepherd. It is Jesus saying, the good shepherd lays on his life for his sheep. John 10, right? Now what we can learn from these beautiful animals? Here, we see, for example, they have emotions, right? Everybody in the church has emotions and feelings. There is a difference in other language between emotion and feelings. Emotions are something superficial. For this, some people decide or think or do things by emotions. But feeling is the one who make us think, even think before to act, because the feeling leads us to see even the consequence of our decision before we do or decide something. Feelings are deep. The emotions in some language are translated as the same. So in English, I think it's more or less the same, but the thing is, this sheep, these animals we saw right now, they also love. And it can create a kind of a good relationship between people, like with us in the church. They have excellent memory, like us, right? And can recognize their owner. So they have excellent memory, and we have too. Even we have the mind of Christ. Because we have the mind of Christ, we can understand very well, we can learn very well, we can be trained very well, and we can recognize the voice of our owners, of our leaders, and especially we can recognize God's voices. We can recognize His command. We can recognize His words. We can recognize His advices to us and follow them. And obey God and follow all His advices and commands and requests and everything else He wants from us. We can, because we does not have a good memory, but we have the mind of Christ, which is much better. They are intelligent and can obey commands' voices. We are intelligent too. In our cases, we do not have just intelligence, because we have the mind of Christ. We also have wisdom, which is more than intelligence. All these abilities can help us to obey, to recognize God's voice and obey His voice, obey Him. Naturally, they live together in a flock, like we see here. So we saw the photo, they are all together. Brother and sister, it is a very important point for the church. The church, when it's not together, is what? Is divided. And divided, we can be destroyed faster, right? The Bible advises us to be all together, even if we are different. Even if you have different opinions, different definitions, different behavior, we need to be together because we are one church, different church inside of the same room. It's important to learn, to support each other, and to tolerate each other, to forgive frequently, to be together. It is a very important point. Their behavior varies between sweet and aggressive, but at the end, everybody is useful. In the church, it is something very clear. Some of us are very gentle, some are more strong, some talk very loud, some very low, some are very sweet, some are very aggressive. We are different. Some are more polite, some less polite. But for God, under His vision, every one of us, with all our differences, are useful in His kingdom. I don't believe God called any of us to be lazy. For example, to be like, I say, indifferent or disconnected in His kingdom. He did. He called some to be apostles, the other evangelists, the other apostles, the other masters, all these ministries you know from the Bible. But the ones who do not have any specific call, we also are Christian. We can talk, we can shout about God to our families, to our neighborhood, to the people from our work, the people from our school, the people who are ἀγαπᾷς. God wanted to use each one of us, with a call or no call, to be useful in his kingdom. It is the idea. They also can be domesticated. They can be domesticated like all of us. The ones in the church who we think are aggressive, indifferent, sour, or even these people can be very well trained and be useful in the kingdom of God in the same church. They mature faster than other animals, or the quadrupeds. So they mature. When I talk about the maturity, I immediately refer to the sheep, because the sheep in lambs, the sheep is the more adult, has a better experience, a better training, it has more maturity. It is normal. They adapt easily to the place where they live. So this point here was very important. As Christians, we need to be well, we need to feel well, we need to show we are well in however we are. Sometimes we will be in the mountain, other times we will be in the valley, right? In some moment we are in the sun, the light of the sun. Some moments we will be in the darkness. Depends how the situation we are facing. Sometimes we are in all victory, singing very happy. The other time we don't want to see no one in front of us. It is our reality, because we are human. No one is perfect. Sometimes we are okay, another day we are not. Anyway, we are perfect. But this comparison hymn says they adapt easily. I'm not saying we adapt to be under heaviness or frustration. No, it is no good. It's not this my idea. The idea is we all need to be okay, independent of the situation we are facing right now, to adapt our communion with God no matter what our situation. If everything is okay, we sing and worship Him. If something is bad or if everything is wrong, we continue to pray and believe in Him, because these are two different things. We cannot blame God for everything. We cannot open our mouths and say wrong things about our relationship or the God we are serving, or make this kind of confusion. So it's necessary to make the difference and don't lose our vision about who we are serving, who we are walking with, which is God, right? Who is the person who is with us? God. So we need to adapt ourselves and learn how to face in a very good way the hard and different situations we face in our lives. Also, the sheep, these animals, were created for reproduction, and we were created for multiplication, right? We know the Great Commission in Matthew, the very end of this gospel, we see God called everybody to talk and to go through the world, talk about God. Do you know, brother and sister, I sometimes think like this. Jesus, when Jesus comes, every one of us will go in front of Him and see what He say and show what we did with our lives. And one thing I'm very sure we need to return to Him is the talents and calls and abilities He gave to us as Christians. What we did with all these powerful capacities He gave to us while we were here as Christians. Remember this comparison from the Bible. The man gave to his different servants different amounts of talents. There's a kind of amount of value. The one he gave one was so afraid. What he did? He hid the talent. And then later on, when the owner came back, the boss came back, this man returned to him the same talent. which was the reaction of this boss, this man? He was not pleasing, because this one had time to work with this talent and multiply it lays in two. He didn't do anything. What you and me are doing with the talents God gave us, the calls He gave us, the abilities He gave us? Are we talking about Him to our families, for example? Are we talking about Him to the people in our job, in our work? Are we talking about Him in our schools where we study or work? Are we talking about Him to our neighbors and friends and families and people who cross in our ways each day of our lives? What we are doing with these talents and capacities and calls He gave us? Because the day when we have to stand in front of Him, in front of His throne, will come, and then no one will be able to say, oh, I didn't know, or no one say I had to do this. Will not be able to lie. We need to say the truth. So now is the time to do something else, because one day we'll show the proposal, the reason of our existence. Live for Him, worship Him, but also shows our worshiping through our work for Him. Talk about Him to others. This is one thing I have in mind about myself even. So the other thing, their diet is specific, usually grass, hay, and cereal. So we have our diet too, right? Our diet is which? God's word is praise, fasting. This is our diet. If you don't eat God's word, you will die. Our faith will be affected. Our process of sanctification will stop. There will be a frustration, and then the Spirit of God will lose space in our life. The flesh will take this space, and then our life will become a disaster, a chaos, a shame, a frustration, because we are not eating our diet. Our diet is broke. We need to continue in constant communion with God's words and His Spirit, praising, fasting, all this thing, to sanctify ourselves and then come closer and closer of Him. The ships are found in all continents. We too, the Church of God is in the whole universe, right? In the whole place where someone goes, there are people called the Christians, which serving God and worshiping Him. They reproduce in favorable climate conditions for the survival of their babies. They are intelligent. This is a simple conclusion. We are too. Yeah, as I say, we have even the mind of Christ, and for this reason, we have not just intelligence, but we have wisdom, because we have the mind of Christ. So we have no skills. We know already what to do. If you don't do it because you don't want to do, it is the truth. Natural leadership rests in the presence of it is shepherd. It is a very important point. Our shepherd or our pastor is our powerful God. We have all conditions already in front of us to rest in His presence. No matter what the circumstance we face now, the situation, the problem, the need, the infirmity, the conflict, the persecution, the offense, or however we are facing, in His presence, the presence of His God, we always can rest. If we get to give Him our problem, the next step, we will be relaxed, because a huge heaviness was lifted from us, because we already gave it to Him. We are free. And then this last reference, Jesus shows how the pastors have to be. He said, I am the good shepherd. It is Jesus. The good shepherd lies down his life for his sheep. In this case, this verse talks about the sacrifice. So I ask, which kind of sacrifice we are doing for God's people? Some of us, honestly, are very lazy. We are not doing anything. Even some people don't go to the church. They don't want to help anything. They don't want to understand even how important is this. And also how important part it is for their lives. They don't want. So which kind of sacrifice are we doing for God's command? How we are obeying, or we decide not to obey? If we decide not to listen to him, and not to obey, and not to be useful in his kingdom, we have a huge problem in our lives. And then maybe we need Jesus come to us like he went to Peter and say, hey, stop there, come here. We have to talk because I am detecting a serious problem in your life. We need to fix before it gets too late. The time will come when it will be really late and no opportunity anymore to fix. Because we talked about feed my lambs and shepherd my sheep, we also needed to talk about the pastor, because the pastor is the one who will make this also together with his church. So the word pastor also comes from the Hebrew of the Old Testament, the original language, and we read as ha. Ha. And then ha brings the connotation of the one who God calls. So God calls the person, the male, the woman, to live as a pastor. As a pastor, he or she is also a ministry. Now, what is ministry? What is this? Ministry, the people in this present time use it for however someone else does. But ministry is more than to talk to the people. To ministry is more than to teach, even is more than to preach. To be a ministry or to ministry others, it requires the action to go inside of the soul of the people, and from there detect what is not right, what is not good, and bring out through God's word. I'm not saying the pastor will start to imagine how these and these people are. He do by himself. No one can. But when we preach the real word of God, because the word is so powerful, even as I said before, is sharper than a sword with two sides, very sharp to cut, and nothing else can be compared with the word of God. If the message him or her is preaching, no one can help the action of the word, because the word by itself can go inside and move everything from inside of us and make the separation between what is good, what is bad, what is positive qualities, what is a sin, for example, bad desires, bad intention. It helps us to bring out, like to vomit everything bad and be clean. The ministry, when someone ministers the people, this is the action which needs to help go inside of the soul. It helps this person to see the difference between the positive and negative, the bad, the worse, the clean, the dirty, the things which comes from God, which can come from the flesh. It helps us to remove out from us and be free of this. It is ministry. Also, talking by a human side, the minister is the main interpreter of the Bible. When I say this, I'm not saying the pastor is above God. No, the main interpreter, in fact, is the Holy Spirit. But in the human way, the human side, the pastor is the one in the church who needs to carry for the doctrines and teaching and preaching. What the leaders are preaching, what someone who is invited is teaching, what they are teaching the people. The pastor is responsible, is the one who is responsible for caring for the about the doctrine the people are learning in his church or her church. Also someone who care for the people. In this case, is someone who observes continually. This word continually gives me the idea in this way. The pastor is the one who is in front of the congregations, in front of the group, also is behind, also is in the right, he also is in the left. Is around the people, not just observe, but literally scaring, protecting, covering them as a pastor, as a head of the church which God planted there. So this responsibility is really huge. He had to be literally around each one of the members of his church to not lose any of them and not let them to eat the wrong food like heresies or false doctrines or things like this. And God is expecting he or she make her or their good work. So also is a grace there. This I found several synonyms for this word. I found like shepherd or someone who feeds or however tend. So grace in this case I will compare with the literal shepherd. So in this case is someone who distribute or share peace among the people who are under his care, under his assistance. For this, God called him or her. So someone who makes peace or give peace to the people who are under their government. Also, the word pastor comes from the Greek, the original language of the New Testament, as a noun as poimên, as literally pastor, and as a verb as poimaino, que is to be a pastor. Yes, the connections to be a pastor. So pastor, and when this non-pastor comes to becoming an action to be or to live as a pastor. So this word pastor appears in the Old Testament around 170 times. It is a high frequency. Why? Because in this case, in this 170 times, are also included the pastors of the animals, pastors in the field, pastor of farms, pastors in the lands. All kinds of pastors are referred here, are part of this 170 times just in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, this word pastor appears around 29 times only, and almost all of them referring to Jesus. In Jeremiah 3:15, we read this beautiful, powerful reference. I will give you shepherds according to my heart. God says, who will feed you with knowledge and understanding. So two things here are important for me. One is shepherds, or I will change pastors according my heart. Not according even the church heart. Not according the society heart. Not according the time or the year, the season heart. No, it's not a kind of the option. It's not a job. It's not a simple position. It is a call. For this, God say, I will give you. Who will give? God will give. He is the one who can see. He say, you can. I want you here. I want you there. So he is the one who call, establish the pastor and the church according his heart and not someone else's heart. And also the second part says, will feed you with knowledge and understanding. Some version says, knowledge and wisdom. E I like more this version because understanding is something lower than wisdom, right? The wisdom generate or create or originated, understand as the opposite. So in this case, knowledge refers to the word of God, and understand refers to God's direction. It is more complete for me. So this I had to bring the other version, I bring this, but literally for me, who will feed you with knowledge of God's word and wisdom of God's direction. Is a powerful verse, yes, for me, for you. The main functions of a pastor in the church are which we have several. I just bring 4 because of the time. For example, he is called to guide the people, and this guide leads them in the right direction, like the shepherd do. To guide the sheep in the right direction is what God is expecting the pastor to do, which means make the group goes in the same direction, not get distracted, not get lost, not get confused. In this case, there is no division because everybody is going to the same direction. Because I think this, when there is some division, if the group is not going to the same direction, and the pastor getting a kind of lost here in this guidance, if the group is not going to the same, then what will happen? There is a division. The people will get a distraction. It is because the shepherd, the action to shepherd, to be a pastor, and this aspect of guidance is not be integral, is not be complete, is not be total. And that is one of the reasons why some sheep yet have hungry. And then because they have yet hungry, also they are distracted, going for everywhere, they usually go to another territory, another churches, another denomination, another place to eat, spiritually thinking. And when they go to another place, they go up and down, they don't establish their firm position in this place together with this group, this pastor is guide. What happened? They can eat, for example, heresies, they can eat false doctrines, they can eat doctrines of demons. It will happen because the guidance is not working correctly. Also, the one main functions of the pastor is to govern. What is this? How can we understand? When he governs the people, he or she, right, patiently teaches the people to obey, cooperate, persevere, and sanctify themselves. Each one will work hard to sanctify their lives. And in these words, all this process of this teaching, which is not easy, sometimes hard, will shape the people character in their new Christian life. So it will shape the character. It is a very important result we can get when we govern the people and guide them correctly in all these steps, in particular sanctification, which is a whole process which will take our entire life from the very first day we came to Jesus until the moment when Jesus comes back for us. This process will work in our lives. When the pastor gets all to work through all these steps, him or she can literally shape the people's character during their new Christian life. So in this case, the pastor, no matter who is, never will exploit, abuses, or abandon the people, or God's people. This is the good shepherd. We read right now in this verse we read. I am the good shepherd. I give my life for the people. So this is the good shepherd, as the Bible tells in John 10. Right? I am the good shepherd, and Jesus laid down his life for us. So it is a very important function. The next is to feed. Carefully select the spiritual food the people need to eat to make their faith stronger and very well connect their communion with God. Carefully, in this case, the pastor will do what? They will select the spiritual food, for this is very huge between quotation marks, select the spiritual food that the sheep needed to eat as the lamb too. This refers not to allowing his sheep to eat things, as I say already, heresies, doctrines of demons, or false doctrines, or however, which can kill their faith. The specific word in a shepherd, because the shepherd cares completely for all these different aspects. It does not only refer to feed, but as I said before, above all, refer to feed the lamb and the sheep until the point they are satisfied, they are in state of relaxing, complete rest, pleasurable, and excited completely. So, and another or the last here in this case is to protect, as one of the main work or task of the pastor, to protect the lamb and also the sheep. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. It is what Jesus did. It is what we or the pastor needs to do for the church, the place where God planted, established him or her. Now, my last question for you is this. If this question waited for you, Sίμων Ιωάννου, ἀγαπᾷς, πλέον, τούτων, I say you last time, I left this space in blank. If you place your name there and say, instead to say Simon, son of John, you say your name. I will say mine, Carmen. You say your Martha, Mary, Jose, Joy. Your name in this space. Do you love me more than this? This is the verse 5, right? If this question was for you, so then, as Jesus did with Peter, probably will do with us. Then, if you love me, feed my lambs. It is his command for us. I will repeat, it is not an option, it's not a suggestion, it's not a simple and vague idea from Jesus to me or you. No. It is a command, it is a call. If you love me as you say, then feed my lambs. It's so easy. Why? Because if you love me, you will want to show how much you love me. Brother and sister, when we love God, we always want to do something to please Him. It is a very important thing to think. In this case, if you love me, feed my lambs. Vosке, ărnía, my lambs, in plural, more than one, right here in English. So, no matter who they are easy, they are difficult, they are very holy, they are crazy, no matter. Feed them with, to the point they get rest, and permanent rest. Believe in me and strong my word. Also, if you love me, shepherd my sheep. The sheep are the adult, the people in the church who have more maturity. You are able to help you. Shepherd them, guide, teach, training. Also give them opportunity to be useful and help these lambs which are yet giving their first steps in Christian life. So the command is Ποίμαινε τα πρόβατά μου. Shepherd, Ποίμαινε, πρόβατα, sheep. So this is God's desire for us. Then I ask again, what would happen if God asked us the same question? Do you love me? What would you or me say to him? I just think, as I say, when we love God, we always want to do something special to please Him. It is special does not have to talk for a multitude. Talk just for one person is a huge, important thing to do to show how much we love our God, how much we believe in Him, to the point we talk about Him without problem to others because we believe in Him very much. And also, we never say no, even when you think we will not be able to do this. If God says, feed my lambs, shepherd my sheep, we will not say, no, God, thank you, but no, say someone else to do. We cannot do this. We cannot, even if you think we are not able, we are not in the position, we don't have condition, we don't understand enough, we don't have any skills. We are blessed because all this here is a privilege. So in this case, as we conclude today part 2, I leave you now with these important questions. First question, have you discovered how God wants to use you to build His kingdom here in this planet? Have you discovered, do you know why or for what God called you or wanted to use you for His glory? Think about this. Question number 2, what are you currently doing for Him as a Christian? What are you doing? Are you talking about Him to your family? I ask again. Are you talking about Him in your job, in your place of your employment, to your neighborhoods, to your people around you? Are you doing something? What are you doing currently doing right now for Him? And third important question, what will you return to Him multiplied on that great day when Jesus comes back for you and for me? Remember, we will stand in the presence of the Holy God, in front of His powerful throne, and there we will not be able to lie. We will not be able to mask anything. We will not be able to wear any mask to hide ourselves. We will not have any skills. I don't have any skills. I don't know you. But the thing is, this is the time to start to multiply the talents and calls He gave us. And then, when that great day comes, with Jesus' second coming for His church, our hands will not be empty. We need to return what He gave us multiplied. And God has His confidence in us. He believes as His church, we obey Him and we will do the best. So think about these 3 questions, and then while you coming with the third part of this topic, I would like you study the same reference, John 21, 15 to 17, as much as possible. Because if you don't know, the more we study God's words or the word of God, the more we know the God of the word. Don't forget this. As much you work His word, much more you know Him. And consequently, as a result, you will know much more yourself. I will know more myself. We will know ourselves more than we think we know. Okay? So this is my hope for you, and I want to see you to complete the simple series of confrontation. And next week, I will be back with our third part of the same important topic. See you there. Bye-bye.